to the F1 Rear View podcast, where we will be looking at the weekend and reviewing the race. This week, we'll be looking at some big news stories and events which have happened throughout the F1 paddock, and we'll also be breaking down the race weekend and the drivers' performance alike. I'm joined today by the wonderful Reese Keeble.
Hello.
He's going to help us throw in his opinions and his Formula One knowledge, or lack thereof. And we've also got producer Ruth on the decks looking after us today. So any technical issues, that's her fault.
Yep, Ruth.
You there?
That's not very fair.
She's over in the other room, so that's all her business.
Feel her eyes staring at us already.
Yeah. So without further ado, I think we should just get straight into it. First off, Reese, how are you?
I'm not bad. It's as we're recording this Sunday night. You know, it's been a race.
Yeah, there has been a race.
I feel like that's all we can really say.
The last race of the decade.
Can I just say we've picked a good time to do this?
I was going to say this, yeah.
Yeah.
We're starting episode 1 of the podcast, last race of the season. That's pretty well lined up, isn't it?
Yeah, we could have done it at the start of the season.
We
but
could have done. It's
you know what we'll
been
do?
A long process.
We thought, you know what we'll do? We'll struggle for content for the next 100 days.
Yeah,
and then when it's back, we'll be right in the flow again.
So you're mentioning that there's going to be a big break before
There's
March.
A huge break.
But we've got a plan. So this episode we're going to be talking about Abu Dhabi, some stuff going around there, obviously, which is the obvious thing to talk about. And then next week we're going to be doing an overall season review, going from Australia to Abu Dhabi race 1 to 21, and then every week after that, we're just going to kind of look at each driver. I think if we go like reverse grid order, start with Kubica, finish with Hamilton, we'll kind of talk about how we think their season's gone overall.
Give a little review, you know?
Yeah, and hopefully that will then get us to March.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed the content is good enough to get us all the way through.
Hopefully we can get there. But anyway, for now though, let's get straight on to Abu Dhabi.
Should we not explain that you are a Red Bull fan?
Okay, yeah, we'll do this. Bias, kind of get that out of the way, I suppose. Yeah, so I am a Red Bull fan. Driver-wise, probably a Verstappen fan, but you know, I'm also I kind of like a lot of the young talent coming through.
I like the
Lando,
talent, guys. I like the
Leclerc,
talent.
Yeah, and
it's so good for the sport. I'm a McLaren fan.
Sorry, you've had a great season.
I'm a McLaren fan. Sainz, one of the best drivers on the grid at the minute. Lando, I love Lando to pieces.
Interesting.
His Instagram, everything, so good.
Yeah, so.
I also like Leclerc, so if you hear me be a bit biased towards Leclerc, shout Leclerc.
We're both on the younger generation side of the grid. Yeah. Is that fair to say?
Well, sorry, Kimmy, but yeah, I feel like that's fair.
So let's kind of talk about first, actually, before we get into the race breakdown, I want to go straight into kind of news this week, things that have been happening around the paddock, because there's been one very interesting story that's come out this weekend, which is kind of out of the blue, wasn't really expecting it, and this is Formula One is launching its own perfume range. For some reason. That's literally the title. So this story I'm looking at the moment is from WTF1. And the story they've written is F1 is launching its own perfume range for some reason.
It's weird, isn't it? Because, you know, lots of places have perfume ranges. I know, like, football clubs have it and stuff. But if you want to smell like sweat, tyres and, you know, petrol...
And oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your way, isn't it? I mean, it's like they're saying here, there is so much F1 merchandise. You can get, you know, Bluetooth speakers shaped like Pirelli tyres.
That's
anything.
quite cool.
Exactly. There's a massive range of stuff.
Are they doing women's and men's perfume or what?
So this is a bit about it. So it's produced in collaboration with Designer Parfums, the company, and they'll be available to buy from March next year, at the start of next season. You can go and get your hands on one of the limited edition ones, which have, and this is the quote, have been specifically inspired by the world of Formula One, uniting technology and dynamism with heritage and storytelling.
You know what I've always wanted to smell like?
What?
Technology.
Yeah.
That's something I've always wanted to give off the musk of technology.
There's a word in there I struggled with, so I'm glad you're not reading it. And the word was dynamism. Any idea what that means?
Just
electric, dynamic. I don't know. But anyway, hang on. Here's a picture for you to see.
You always see this kind of absolute bollocks when they're selling perfume. Oh, you're gonna smell like Fantabula or something mixed in with a little odor of the mountains. A lot of nonsense.
These are what the bottles look like. Obviously, this is radio, so you can't actually see the bottles.
One of them's shaped like a woman's area. That's weird.
Yes.
One of them is curved. If you haven't seen the photo, go have a look. I'm
just
sure
Google it. I'm sure it'll come up.
I'm sure that we'll tweet it out on one of our pages as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
But, you know, it genuinely, so the wooden one, it looks like a wooden thing. Looks like a vagina. I'm just
He
throwing
said
that
it.
out there.
There it is.
It looks like a woman's area.
Yeah.
What is the crack with that? Is that the women's one?
Maybe.
Or what?
Well, the one next to it as well is just full of holes.
Yeah.
They're weird designs.
You're not getting much money
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
not much perfume
we'll
for
get
your
to the
money.
price now. So, yeah, the price, £7,750 each.
No way. No. Are you winding me up?
£7,750 each, apparently. So when they launch to the general public next year in an elaborate bottle design, the price will be more palatably £195.
So who's paying £7,000?
So that's if you want one of those fancy bottles. You have to
Oh,
pay
the vagina.
£7,000. Yeah.
For the vagina, you can have
Yeah.
£7,000.
Yeah.
If you're feeling lonely, you know.
Yeah.
£7,000's not a...
So F1 are releasing perfumes in fancy bottles that look like women's areas for £7,000, almost £8,000.
That is ridiculous.
If you want it in a less elaborate design, it's still £200.
And that's
for a
also
smell.
ridiculous. I was fuming because I went to go get that cool water, the whatever it is.
Yeah.
I got that, spent 30 quid, and I thought, what a waste of money.
Yeah.
You know, what a waste of money for a smell. I'd rather think of BO.
I know.
Anyways.
Well, here we go. So they've come up with some good.
It's a little insight into the smell of the studio, isn't it? Carry on.
They've come up with some good scent names for this perfume. Obviously, the official ones haven't been released.
The woman's
as far as I'm
area.
aware. So we've got Eau Rouge de Toilette.
Okay.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
Vettel number 5.
Vettel number 5.
Yep. And Estee Lauder.
So why is Vettel one? Why a louder one?
Nicky Lauder.
Yeah.
Estee Lauder, like
Yeah.
Estee Lauder.
But he hasn't consented to that.
Well, no. All right. These are just punny names.
Yeah.
That
Right.
we thought we could whack on. I didn't think this. WTF1 have written this article, and that's what they've thought they can whack on there.
Oh, so they're not even the real names.
No, of course they're not.
Well, you didn't say that.
I
you
did.
said we
I
got
said
some names
these
for
were
'em.
names that would come up with it. Anyway, right. So the other thing that was in the news this week, Long press conference man was back. Have you heard about him?
He is in my opinion, one of the best people to ever come into the sport.
Wow, that's a bold claim.
I love him. I genuinely love him. The driver's reactions when he starts talking. So, Lewis, you said that you've got a book coming out, and the book is in the next 5 years, and you said in the 5 years you'll explain about the double pit stop. Can you please explain to me now about the double pit stop, because I might not be around in 5 years to see it?
Yeah. So so Walter Costa's his name, and I'm going to play now the clip of his latest question.
Are we going to be quiet while this clip's playing?
Yeah, and we'll see what it sounds like.
Okay.
So here you go.
Chai, before I start my question, I had to remind you of 5 races. I read it quickly. No doubt you have had more good races than bad ones. But if we stick to the less good races with bad luck and mishaps such as Baku, where the Ferrari hit the barriers, in Bahrain, where you lost the lead due to an engine problem, in Austria, where you catched by Max, in Monaco, your first home race was very disappointing with last place, and probably the low point in Hockenheim, it was a mistake of the driver. And last in Brazil, the finish after hard battle with your teammate. Now my question to the pop star of Formula One. What was your best race among your worst races? Can you give us, please, a ranking regarding your 5 not-so-good races, starting with the worst? I'm a polite person or man. Please excuse this question, but I still hope for an answer. Thank you.
So yeah, that was the question. A minute long.
There's a lot of talking points there. Like, one, he had to say that he was a polite man.
He was a polite man.
He's a very polite man.
He did put it across a very polite way, but at the end of the question, you forgot what the start was.
And I'm not being funny. The question was, can you rank your races from worst to best?
Worst to best.
Now,
You've just
how long
summed
did it
that up.
take me? Can you rank your races from worst to best? 3 seconds.
3 seconds, yeah.
3 seconds.
My favourite part is about halfway through when Leclerc literally just goes, "I've lost you."
Yep.
He literally says, "I've lost you." There's another quote that I love to pick out from there. Hang on, I'll see if I can get the full quote from there. Just Verstappen and Leclerc were loving it. If you haven't seen the clip,
They were too busy laughing
if
to
you
really
haven't
pay
seen the
attention.
clip, find it. It's on YouTube somewhere.
I feel sorry for... What's the guy's name?
Walter Costa.
I feel sorry for Volta, right?
Yeah.
Because one of them audibly scoffs when he starts talking. They realise, and he just goes, "Ugh," like that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird.
Yeah, so this is my favourite part of that question, this favourite quote.
Your favourite quote?
I say my favourite question from the question. It was that long a question. It's ridiculous, right? So it's now my question to the pop star of Formula One.
The pop star.
The pop star of Formula One. What was your best race among your worst races?
Have you ever heard anyone call Charles Leclerc a pop star?
No. And afterwards, Max actually just picked up on that. He turns to him and goes, "Are you the pop star of Formula One?"
The pop star of Formula
And Leclerc's like, I'm not really sure.
On F1's YouTube channel as well, they put on a top 10, like they do the top 10 things.
Top
Quite
10,
good to watch. Top 10
yeah.
interviews, and this guy Volta features twice.
Oh, yeah.
He features twice.
That's
and
the third
it is
time
so
now.
good. That's the third time that he's gone and asked a question that is.
It's
very,
amazing.
It's weird.
I want to find out what publication he works for, and I want to find out why they keep sending him to these press conferences.
I want him to ask me a question.
Yeah, well,
I want him to ask me a question. Doesn't matter what it's about. I mean, probably F1, preferably.
yeah.
I just want him to ask me a question. I really do.
I'm just reading this whole quote back now. It's really bizarre. My favourite one of his, though, is something like Niki Lauda said 60 years ago, you put a monkey in a race car and it can race it.
Yeah.
70 years on, Lewis Hamilton, you said. And the whole press conference, they're just like, what the hell are you on about?
This whole quote, right? I'll read it out.
Go on.
Charles, before I start my question, I have to remind you of high praises. No doubt, you've had more good races than bad ones. But if we're sticking to the less good races, with bad luck and mishaps, such as Baku, where Ferrari hit the barriers, in Bahrain, where you lost the lead during an engine problem,
Yeah.
in Austria, where you caught up with Max and Monaco, your first home race was very disappointing, with last place and probably the low point. Then this is where Leclerc interrupts, saying he's lost it.
Yeah.
In Hockenheim, it was mistake of driver, and last in Brazil. This is so hard to read because it's broken English. The finish after the battle with your teammate. Now my question to the pop star of Formula One: what is the best race among your worst races? Can you give us, please, a ranking regarding your 5 not so good races, starting with the worst? I'm a polite person or man, so he's a person or man. Please excuse this question, but I still hope for an answer.
Amazing. It is amazing. And this is a formal invite to Walter Costa. If he ever winds up listening to this, please come on this podcast. You are more
I'd
than
love him.
welcome. We want you on the podcast. Please, Walter, come on.
I said I wanted him to ask me a question. I want to ask him one.
Imagine
See how
that
he
whole
feels.
podcast interview. That would fill the month
Yeah.
before March. Yeah. So amazing question. Once again, he's back, Walter Costa, and to be honest, I hope he keeps going. I hope we see him again in Australia every
What a
year.
man.
He is a highlight. So I think it's about time we get to the race breakdown
The
for
race
the
itself.
Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, is that the right word? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
is
Grand
Abu
Prix.
Dhabi a country? I'm not sure. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So first off, thoughts on the race. 3
Very-
words, minimal answer. What is your direct review of the race?
3 words. Very bloody boring.
Yeah.
Apart from the last 5 laps.
Yeah.
So that bit's in brackets. I don't count towards my word count. I've learned that being a student.
Yeah. I'm going to say I'm not. 3 words is minimal words, I think we should put it at. So mine's just going to be boring, boring, boring. What was the TV director doing?
Yeah. By the way, Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates.
So it's the UAE Grand Prix.
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, what was the director doing? And I say that, something we'll get onto a little bit further on in the breakdown. But
It's a 9.
they just
isn't
weren't
it?
showing what we wanted to look at.
Where is my boy Carlos?
Exactly.
Where's Carlos?
So-
where is Carlos?
In fact, we'll touch on that straight away. Most exciting part of the
Oh.
race. I want to talk about the most exciting part of the race. For me, 100%. The championship was so close going into this race for 6th
For 6th.
between Gasly, Sainz, and Albon, I think it was.
Gasly had
Gasly
the hour
and
and a half
Sainz.
pit stop, as Ted said.
Yeah, Gasly and Sainz were both tied on 95 points going to this. You felt so bad for Gasly coming into this because he had such a good race in Brazil. 2nd place, amazing. But he came into this race and he just didn't do it.
Let's be honest, this season was absolutely diabolical at the start, but not his fault. Okay,
Yeah.
when he got promoted to
Yeah.
Red Bull, that car is very much firmly built for Max. He couldn't handle that car. So, and then he went
Yeah.
back down, and he had an absolutely incredible race, like you said in Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
An incredible race.
Yeah, he did. And he proved why he is a good driver and why he deserves to stay in Formula One. I think in that race, maybe this is going to be a controversial opinion on Pierre.
Hello, Saucy.
Maybe he should be somewhere else outside of the Red Bull camp.
Ooh.
And that's coming from a Red Bull fan, as we said at the start.
Where would you
But
see him? Where would you want him?
I honestly don't know where I could see him, but I know he's a bloody good driver, but I just don't know if he's got the timing right. Because that Red Bull at the moment is so designed for Max Verstappen. If he wants to really build on his talents before his time in F1 is up, like Hülkenberg has, he needs to do it quick. Because if he doesn't, he's going to be out the door with the rest
I was
of
going
them.
to say, you've got to ask how Hülkenberg, he's had a pretty good season.
Yeah.
Not going to lie, he's had quite a good season for
Yeah.
Hulkenberg. How he's managed to lose his seat, and then Gasly, who has gone up to a big team, failed, but he has failed and come back down. How he's managed to still retain a drive.
Yeah.
You got to ask them
And I
sort of
think-
questions.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about Hülkenberg's season later and about, did he deserve to go, did he,
sorry.
and all that kind of stuff. We'll come back to
Jumping
that
ahead.
in a bit. But for me now, most excited part of the race, we got weird on a tangent there.
Welcome to the podcast.
Most exciting part of that race, 100%, was Sainz. I can't even remember who it was. It's the two runners.
It was
Hülkenberg
Sainz,
and
Hülkenberg, and Ricciardo. Ricciardo was behind him.
Yeah.
Hülkenberg was in front.
Yeah.
At a point of the race, you can see how angry I am. At a point of the race, there was 0.063 seconds
Yeah.
separating them all of them. Okay, and then what happens? We're watching Lewis Hamilton do the final lap of the race. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Hamilton's
that
in front.
was-
1 minute 30 something in front.
Yeah.
It was. What a waste of
Sainz
time.
had to get 10th place in that, and that wasn't just a normal on-battle fight. That was for 6th place in championship.
Yeah.
That's how we got there. I remember now. So him and Gasly were both on 95 points. If one of them got that extra point, Sainz would have got that 6th place in the championship.
It's ridiculous.
And it wasn't shown on TV.
It is ridiculous. Like, the TV director decided to cut to Lando versus Stroll instead, which you've got to ask yourself. Was it Stroll?
Yeah,
Perez went
Perez
out.
or Stroll. Yeah, it was Stroll.
It was one of
No,
them.
other way around. Yeah, Perez.
Sorry.
Stroll went out. But, and it was a good battle, that one. But we
But
didn't need to
it's
see
not
that.
for the
It wasn't for the
championship.
championship. I don't think it even mattered in the points in the end,
We watched Bottas firmly stay behind
Yeah.
Max Verstappen
Instead of
watching the fight.
for 6th place
Oh.
in the championship, 10th place in the race.
This isn't the first time it's happened as well. This is not the first time it has happened.
You feel bad for Carlos.
I feel really bad for
we
Carlos.
said when we were watching it, we said, has he done something to piss off the race directors or the camera crew?
It's absolutely ridiculous.
The director, what has he done?
Cameron
what
was
has he
like,
done?
"Oh, Carlos is coming as a seagull up there. Quick, point it up." What is going on?
Oh, right, so next thing, least exciting part.
The 50 laps before the end.
Yeah, it was not. Considering some absolute bangers we've had this season, you think back to Germany, you think back to Brazil. We've had some great races. Now, I'll save that for the season review next week in more detail. But we've had some great races this season, and this one just wasn't.
It was very
really
lackluster,
there.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
The only good thing about the race was that Bottas started from the back.
Yeah.
Because then at least we got to
That
see
was a little
someone
bit of
fighting through the
entertainment.
midfield.
Yeah.
However, apart from that, Gasly at the start when he had to go into the pits and
With his hour and a half pit stop.
Yeah, hour and a half.
Let's
as
talk
Ted
about
said.
what happened there at corner one, actually. Turn one, even. Corner one? Turn one. So I think it was the racing points in the Toro Rosso they got mixed up in that, wasn't it?
Yep.
And so I think Gasly was going into the corner on the outside, trying to go around the outside of one of the racing points, Perez or Stroll. I think it was Perez who was trying to go around the outside of Stroll, was coming up behind him, locked up and ended up going into the back of him. Then that went into the... Yeah, it was a mistake, and to be fair, it was no one's fault.
Right, so I'm watching it back now.
Yeah.
The first corner. So
Yeah.
you can see Gasly starts to lock up before the first corner. Okay, Sky Sports, hire me now. I'll stand at the pundit board if you want.
Is that Paul di Resta?
It is. So you can see Gasly starts to lock up his front left tyre first. And then which one of that is it? The Sports
That's
Speedo?
Stroll behind, I believe.
Stroll, he clips the front one actually,
punts
doesn't
him. Yeah, he just punts him.
But then that completely ruins his race. They can't get the wing off in the pit stop.
And that pit stop was an hour and a half, like Ted said.
It was a
wasn't
long
actually, but
pit stop.
It was, and I'm sure it felt like eternity for
It was a
Gasly
lap
sat
behind.
there.
It was a lap in length.
Absolutely
if not
devastating.
longer.
That, yeah.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
It is. So actually, after the race, something came out, which you sent me the story for, which was Leclerc's penalty.
Yes.
So at the start of the race, there was a lot of speculation that Leclerc had different fuel or something like that.
They were saying that the fuel/oil mix in his car was too different to the other cars.
To Vettel. Or just the other cars
I think
in
it was the
general.
other cars in general.
So in Abu Dhabi's report
Oh,
from the
hello,
stewards,
there we go.
they revealed that there was a difference of 4.88 kilograms between what Ferrari had declared was in his vehicle
This is
than
why
what
you're
was
here.
at the end.
So it's a weight difference.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
So was
That's
that
why
was that
it's
in
smart.
was that in qualifying or in the race?
So
How does that work? Oh, so was that when he went to the grid?
that was when he came off the grid.
When he came off the grid, right? So that's interesting then. So he did
So
get
they were
penalised for
penalising
it.
more for the weight than what's in the
Yeah.
oil and fuel.
So the penalty he ended up getting was a fine. I'm not entirely. Do you know how much it was, Ruth?
So the fine at the end was 50,000 euros.
50,000.
That's nothing.
Well,
To an
it's-
F1,
it's- yeah.
like an F.
It's not
Ferrari.
nothing, but it's big. But here's the thing. So we were saying, should that penalty have been a time drop, a grid drop, which could probably cost them more?
It should have been a disqualification.
Or
surely.
a DSQ even, yeah, because, I mean, that was, at the end of the day, if that fuel, weight obviously doesn't actually make you go faster, so it was a weight issue, you could look at that, but he had more fuel to burn in the race,
Yeah.
obviously an advantage.
Wait, so he had more fuel, not less fuel?
So, is that right? Is it more or less?
I think it was less,
So
wasn't it?
it was more
More.
by 4.88 kilograms.
Yeah.
Well,
so
then that'll make him
he
go
got about 5
slower.
kilos over. It make him go slower, but he can run his engine
at a higher
burning more
level.
fuel.
Yeah.
So obviously that will give him a clear advantage, which you're allowed to do, but you have to declare that you've put that much in your car,
And he didn't.
and you didn't.
So the Ferrari team principal, Mattia Binotto, said afterwards
Zero
to the
wink.
media, I don't think there's much to explain. There has been a discrepancy between measurements.
Right. So they're saying it
Yeah,
was an
but
accident, all this kind of
I'm
stuff.
not being funny. How do you have an accident on the last race of the season? You've gone all season, you
to
know.
perfect
Yeah,
fueling.
exactly.
Yeah. Roundup then, is a fine fair? Is it fair to give him the fine,
Not at
not
all.
a disqualification?
Not at all. I don't think they should have disqualified him.
Yeah.
I think it should have impacted the race in some point.
Yeah.
And like I said at the start, I like Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
Like I just look like I like him. Okay.
Yeah.
I just if it was, you know, it should have been a penalty. It should have been a grid penalty.
Yeah, it should have been something that directly affected his race. Because
Exactly.
if he burnt fuel more, because actually, and I'm going to say this, at the start of the race, you saw him overtake Verstappen. Verstappen was nowhere in comparison to Leclerc at the start.
Verstappen looked like a bloody snail at the
Maybe
start.
he had his engine turned up more. That's why.
Who knows?
You
yeah.
can't. Obviously, it's all speculation now. We can't say, but that could be a very fair reason. Because after the first few laps, once he got into the race, Verstappen was
He was
pretty
going for
good
it. Yeah.
ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, obviously, that's
Christian
all
Horner, the Red Bull
speculation.
team boss, also
Okay.
said, I can't see how Leclerc won't be disqualified when asked about the issue pre-race.
Oh,
Was he shaking his foot as he gave that interview? That's a big
classic
question.
Horner
right?
move?
At the end of the
Right.
day, it's controversy.
It is.
We can't talk about
It
it any
is.
more than speculation, can we?
But,
So
yeah, we can give our opinions. We both think it should have been a disqualification. I think that's fair.
well, or at least a grid drop. Like if
Yeah.
they wanted to be lenient, drop in 5 places or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably fair. I think. So I
Even
think-
time. Give him time.
Yeah,
Add 10 seconds on. Make him do a drive-through penalty.
yeah,
You work out that he's done it before the race. They knew fine well he'd done it before the race. Tell him to drive through. Start him from the pits.
Well, they did
Something
but
along those lines.
To be fair, they also said before the race they're going to investigate it after the race.
Yeah,
So,
well, come on.
well, then that sparks the whole debate of did the Ferrari have the FIA in their back pocket, all that kind of
Let's
stuff.
not.
We'll get
dive
to that
into
another time, I'm
what
sure.
A rabbit hole to go down.
Let's talk about drivers in this race more than anything. Nico Hülkenberg and also Robert Kubica. It was their last
Round of
race,
applause to the-
possibly ever in Formula One today. For Kubica, I'm going to say, yeah,
Bye!
probably understood. But for Nico, he's been here a long time. You know, he's had a great little time in Formula One. It is sad to see him go. I'm honestly going to say it.
I've only been
And-
watching Hulkenberg. Like I've only been watching F1. Sorry, for
Yeah.
like I've really got into it this season.
Yeah.
Last season I was watching it a bit passively. You know, and the season before that I think. So I
Yeah.
haven't really. I don't really
Been
know.
glued to
yeah,
it kind of
exactly.
thing, yeah.
Apart from this season.
Yeah.
This season I've really got into it. But it is sad to see him go. After
is.
what 9 years in it was it? It was a long
Something
time.
like that, yeah. And F1 did such a cute interview with him. I don't know if you saw it on their Facebook page. And he said in the interview, he said, it doesn't feel like goodbye.
That's nice.
So I'm hoping he sticks around the paddock, and I'm hoping he still comes to races. Maybe.
Let's be honest. By 3 races ago, it was already secured that he was leaving.
Yeah,
really.
he knew that,
Like,
yeah.
is he really going to join Williams?
Yeah.
That was the only place that had a seat still left.
Yeah, and it will be interested, and I'm sure maybe he'll release a book one day, or we'll learn about what's happened this season.
Well,
and,
Lewis Hamilton's releasing a book for bloody Walter, taking it in 5 years.
and I'm sure we'll hear exactly what happened this season, because I'm sure there was a lot more that went on behind the scenes that we don't even know
Oh,
about.
there must be.
I reckon he
F1
almost had the seat at Haas.
F1 Drive to Survive. That'll be something.
True. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a whole
Drive to
other
Survive.
season for that I look forward to.
That'll delve into that a bit deeper.
Yeah.
Although the only thing I don't like about that, to go down another rabbit hole, Drive to Survive, is you got that guy who is obviously very clued on to F1, but he's always explaining everything in such detail that you've got to think he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good. But you've just got to think, Well,
it's because I think Netflix has such a wide audience. A lot of people that watch that and don't really know what F1 is.
Come on,
But yeah, I get you.
When he's like, it's like Martin every race. DRS stands for drag reduction system. Shut up, Martin. We know.
But yeah, so Hulkenberg got driver of the day, which
he deserves it.
I think he does.
Or Kubica. Kubica got third, but I forgot it was Kubica's last race, to be honest. So I thought that they were just doing that to pee off the FIA.
No, I think it's you look at. If it was like a race in the middle of the season and Hulkenberg got driver of the day for a performance he'd done today, people would have gone, why the hell did he get that? He didn't deserve that. That should have gone to Verstappen or
I saw
Leclerc.
someone say it was the charity award this week.
Yeah. But I think it's a nice way to go goodbye. He's never got that Formula 1 podium. He's never got what I'm sure a lot of drivers going to Formula 1 to achieve. And so it's something.
I'm going to say the only reason he got forced out is because Daniel Ricciardo's there.
Yeah.
He would have stayed.
Well, last season, Renault were meant to have signed Ocon and Hulkenberg for this season. And then Daniel Ricciardo went, what do you think about me? And Renault were like, yes.
Yeah.
And so we ended up with Hulkenberg and...
He had to do like a double take, you what?
Yeah.
You want to race for us?
Yeah. And I think Renault this season, they're still on their... in quotation marks, 5-year journey to say the top of Formula 1, which they've lined out numerous times.
If that happens, I will genuinely drink a beer out my shoe like Daniel Ricciardo.
But here's the thing, I think what they want to do is they want a French driver at the helm of that.
And that's why they got Ocon.
And that's what they've got in Esteban Ocon. He's French, the team's French.
Squirrel's gonna love it.
It's Anglo-French or whatever the French version of Anglo is. It's like, because it's based in England, but it's obviously a French company. But yeah, obviously, so it's a French company, English owners. They've got kind of an English-speaking driver, a French-speaking driver in the team now. That kind of lines up pretty well with what they want, doesn't it?
Can I just say, I'm very annoyed at the fact that not many drivers moved around and really pissed off other teams. I'm annoyed at that.
Yeah.
All it was Ocon coming through. That other lad's joined Williams. I don't even know his name. Latifi.
Yeah.
I'm going to forget that.
We'll get to that. I've got that on there. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Look at me, always jumping ahead.
Yeah. So, it's interesting and all that kind of stuff, but he'll be missed, Hulkenberg. He should have kept his seat, I think, at Renault. But
he should have went to... How on earth... has the two Haas drivers stayed?
Grosjean. Yeah, I think him and Magnussen should have been at Haas next year, but obviously then there's the kind of whole suck my thing that happened. Do you know about that?
No.
Oh, you don't know about that?
No.
So they had a scrap in the race, old Magnussen and old Hulkenberg, and in the media pen afterwards, Magnussen came over and went, suck my blank. Yeah.
Did he?
I don't think so.
Right.
No. But yeah, that was just a very kind of thing that happened. I think those two now kind of have a bit of a
damn
beef.
Right.
So I think I do think whilst they should have signed both those drivers, there would have been issues, and maybe you could have said one should be the bigger man, and they should have both come over it. But it is what it is, and Hulkenberg's gone now, which is sad.
This is why I support a team that are best friends.
Yeah.
Go on, Sainz and Lando.
They are really good mates, them two, and that is always good to see in a team when you can have that kind of friendship.
Moving on.
But yeah, Kubica.
Yep.
How's his season been?
Well, Russell's out-qualified him every single race of the year.
21-0.
21-0.
And the fact is, Williams didn't drop him either. He kind of decided, I don't want to be with Williams anymore. Which was a weird way for it to go. And I don't think we've ever seen a Formula 1 driver do that before.
I can't.
That I can remember, at least.
I can't think of one, but I've only been watching a year.
I can't think of a time a Formula 1 driver's come out and said, I don't want to drive for this, I'm not going to be driving for this team anymore, and not had another team to go to.
Yeah.
You think a Formula 1 driver would want to keep themselves in Formula 1 as much as they can. But if you want to leave a team, that's fair enough, but have somewhere else to go, and he didn't.
What's he doing now?
So I think...
Any reports come out? Formula E or something?
No, he's not going to go to competitive racing. And as much as I think it's amazing what he's done to come back from his injuries to back into Formula 1, it is amazing. He's lost it. He has lost it. He's not anywhere near where he used to be. he's just not the same driver I think he was when he went.
If a race can finish, and this is like the average for most races.
Yeah.
If a race can finish and Russell can be that far ahead of you, after
that dog of a car.
Exactly. You know fine well that driving's over.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is going for him because obviously he was a great talent and he had the ability to go on to do great things. Unfortunately, that crash happened and that's kind of put him in the wrong direction, and that is gutting for him.
But Mr. Robert, we wish you the best.
Yeah, Bobby Kubica. I think he'll go on to good things. Rumours are DTM. I think he's going to go to.
What does that mean for those fans at home?
It's like a German GT league.
Okay.
So car racing. It's pretty big.
I thought you said he wasn't doing professional driving again.
Well, I meant single seater kind of racing.
Okay.
But that's where Pascal Wehrlein was before he came to F1, where he went to a bit after F1. Now he's obviously in Formula E. And it's a great, sport. And also he's going to be doing, I think, a bit of simulator driving for some F1 teams, Haas or Renault, I think it is. They're looking for him. So, I don't think it's the end of the road for him, but we'll see where he goes.
Looking back at the race, we should talk about the pit stops.
Right, yeah, okay, pit stops.
Because, oh my word, either a team was on ball and they were like, straight out, or it was like,
yeah.
Oh, wait, it's still not on.
Well, there was the one, Ferrari's double stack.
Oh my word. So what happened was they thought, Mercedes can do it, we can do it too. You can't, mate. You can't.
Yeah.
Mercedes did it perfectly earlier on in the season, the double stack with Lewis and Valtteri. Can't remember which way around it was. They both did, it was like a 2.2 for both of them, I think.
No. Leclerc's was good.
Leclerc's was really
Vettel
good.
Came in.
And then Vettel got his back tyre stuck.
Not as good. It wasn't terrible still, but...
I don't know whether anyone's, it happened to a lot of teams this race.
Yeah.
Were the guns not working or something?
I don't know. It was a weird one. But Red Bull, I thought, did a great stop on Verstappen. Because you said you thought Verstappen overshot his mark a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
But it still seemed pretty fast to me. Because Red Bull especially have been on the ball this season with their... On the ball this season with their pit stops. They've set and broken the pit stop record 3 times. Could even be 4 with that pit stop, because I don't know what the time came up as, but I thought it looked fast.
The fastest pit stop of today's race was Max Verstappen with 21 seconds.
21 seconds? 2.1
seconds.
2.1 seconds.
2.1 seconds.
What a long pit stop. I told you them guns were slow today.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it is 21 seconds for
entry to the pit lane, out of the pit lane. Right.
What was the actual stop time?
What stood still does it say?
It doesn't say that.
Look on the DHL website or Facebook page, I think it'll say on there. DHL fastest pit stop.
Anyways, if they can do a pit stop in space, you imagine...
Well, that's it. So they've set and broken the pit stop record 3 times this season.
It's mental. I feel sorry for Williams.
Very impressive.
Williams were the pit stop kings until...
They still are good, but Red Bull are better now. I mean, and they showed it in that, as you say, the zero gravity video.
That was ridiculous. If you haven't seen that, do go to Red Bull's YouTube page.
And watch it.
But,
See, I was watching it thinking... That looks like CGI. It doesn't look real.
No.
And, did you watch the behind-the-scenes video they did as well?
I can't say I did.
The behind-the-scenes video they did as well, really interesting to watch. Showed you exactly what they did to get to do the pit stop, how they trained for it and all that kind of stuff. They did it with Russian cosmonauts. Did you know that? That's who they did it with? Interesting.
Not at all.
So, I think we should talk about Nicholas Latifi.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
New Williams driver.
Right. Now, this is going to be a lot of you explaining what he's done and me going, that's all right, he's doing all right there.
Well, Latifi's had a very weird career in terms of how normally he's had a long time in F2.
How old is he?
23, I think.
Oh, what an old man.
He is 24.
Thank you, Ruth.
So
this is why she's here.
Yep. So Nicholas Latifi, here we go. Has been in GP2 and Formula 2, as it is now, since 2014.
And we know it's true because you've got it on Wikipedia.
I've got it on Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is the place where everyone can go and edit, so you're getting the best information from everybody.
Exactly. So he was in GP2 2014 to 16, and then it became F2 2017 to now. So he has had 5 seasons, 5 years in Formula 2.
That's a long time.
Which is unheard of.
Yeah.
So he went into Formula 2, when he was 19, which is a normal age to go into that.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair to him, he only started karting when he was 13.
How old's Schumacher now?
Schumacher?
Mick. Yeah.
19, 20, I think.
Michael. He always strikes me as being older.
No. But yeah, he went into karting when he was 13. which is so young. Normally drivers go in at like age of 6 karting.
Yeah.
And, at 13 he was like, yeah, I'll come in start karting. And now, then 6 years after he started karting, he was in Formula 2.
See, that is impressive.
That is impressive.
And then he's just spent the last 5 years in Formula 2.
Yeah.
Do you reckon it's a case of Williams feeling sorry for him?
No.
This past season...
It's a case of Williams having a very little market to pick from.
Has he had a good season this season?
He came second in Formula 2, yeah.
Who came first?
It was Nick de Vries, who's gone to drive for Mercedes in Formula E.
See, I always forget. I'm one who always forgets about Formula E.
I don't know if you know, in Formula 2, the series champion cannot race in Formula 2 the next season.
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah, so he's had to leave, and he didn't have a place in Formula 1 to go.
But you'd think that he would get the Williams seat.
Yeah,
but then again, if you're going to race for...
Latifi's got a lot of money. That's the main reason.
Right.
Latifi's got a lot of money and sponsorship, which they need more than anything
because that's what Kubica was bringing to the table.
Exactly, and now he's gone. They need something like that.
If you also think about it, though, you can say that if it's going the way that the F1 goes, Mercedes are going to be a top team in Formula E. So you could think, I could race for a top team in Formula E, which is picking up.
I can't blame him for doing that.
Yeah.
Formula E is going places, and I genuinely believe this. And I said to you, I want to do a bit of Formula E on this podcast. And you said I don't really know much about it, but
I know nothing to do with it.
I think we should. Season's just started. Next race until January now, but we should definitely start watching that and getting onto it because that is really a series I think is on the up and up.
Well, you threw me under the bus here, didn't you?
Yeah, I have.
Someone who didn't have much time for Formula E has now got to watch it because Tom said it on the podcast.
But yeah. Formula E is definitely going places, and especially this season, they've got in Mercedes coming in, they've got Porsche coming in, they've got loads going on, which is really good. So Nicholas Latifi coming into Formula 1 at 24 is quite old for a Formula 1 driver to be entering the sport nowadays. To be fair, 10 years ago that was young still, but then you had Max Verstappen come in at 17.
You've got to ask, okay, obviously problem for seats and stuff this season because everyone's like, oh yeah, we're just going to stay the same. Yeah. Boring. Why is Giovinazzi still got his seat?
Why is Giovinazzi still got his seat?
Obviously he's Italian, Alfa, and then Ferrari want him.
He's a seat warmer.
Yeah, but come on.
He's a seat warmer.
He's had his time.
If you want someone
he's had his time,
it's his first season.
That's what I mean though, he's had his chance. If you want someone to always go out in Q1 that's not Russell or Kubica, you could bank on it being Giovinazzi.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he's a seat warmer. That seat at Alfa's owned by Ferrari. That seat that he currently holds is Ferrari's seat at Alfa. They own that. From media speculation, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I think that's true.
So you just made up some absolute bullshit?
No, that is like proper speculation. That's what people say.
Okay.
People say. So they own that seat essentially. Giovinazzi was for a long time Ferrari's reserve driver.
Leclerc was in that seat last season.
Exactly. So now he's in that seat, and because they want someone to replace Vettel eventually. They're not going to put Giovinazzi.
Well, it's not going to be... Yeah, exactly.
So they want to have someone warm in that seat until they've got someone ready to go into that car.
Just get rid of him.
As far as I'm aware, is going to be Mick Schumacher. That's who they want to go there.
But he's not doing the best, is he?
No,
in F2.
He's not doing the best, but he's improving still.
There's improving, and then there's what he's doing.
Yeah.
When was the last time? I was going to say when was the last time he had a podium? He's done pretty well recently.
Yeah.
But he's been in it.
Where did he? Ruth, can you just find out where Mick Schumacher finished in the F2 standings?
For me, he's not a top boy. He's not so.
He's not his dad.
He's a big name. Don't get me wrong. He's a big name.
He's got the Schumacher surname, yeah.
But
in karting, he had to use a pseudonym because he was Schumacher. That was too big. He used a pseudonym in karting.
Just call me Mick, lads. Just call me Mick.
So it's like Mick, I think, will make it to Formula 1 eventually because he's got to because his dad's Michael Schumacher. But
where did he stand?
So Mick Schumacher stands 12.
12. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even top 10. That was a race. He would be getting no points. That's what I'm talking about.
That low. I thought it was like 6.
No, if he was, that's what. So like from what I've seen, I've watched a couple of F2s this season. He's not his dad. No, middle of the pack in F2.
Yeah.
Why promote him to F1? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they've obviously not promoted him this season. Christ.
But imagine the publicity.
Oh, Schumacher's signed for Alfa. Schumacher's come last in every race. Well, not even last. Williams has claimed last.
You look at that though.
Second to last.
Williams signed Bruno Senna.
Exactly. Where's he at now?
Well, he's nowhere. But, they signed him because he had the surname of Senna. He didn't have that good a reputation going into that Williams seat, but it was Bruno Senna. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Did he do well in the Williams?
No, he was terrible.
Exactly. It's why are Alfa going to make the same mistake? Well, Ferrari going to make the same mistake.
Yeah. They need some. I think they're holding out, bet onto that seat till 2021 and the next season, and maybe make a bid for Verstappen. But then again, putting Verstappen and Leclerc against each other, is that going to work?
They hate each other.
Ricciardo.
Oh yeah,
I think Ricciardo would be a good person in that seat.
Why you can't see him moving out of his £100 million contract or whatever he's on.
I think you can if he's not getting podiums or results. He doesn't want to go down as the driver who was doing well at Red Bull, went to Renault, took a big contract, and then never did well again, and then ended his career, like Hulkenberg maybe.
How old's Ricciardo now? 27.
He's getting on a bit. 27, 28.
He could be.
He's getting on a bit. I know that.
We should change his title to researcher as well.
Yeah.
Reith is also the researcher of the show.
See
How old's Ricciardo, Reith? Daniel, if you want his first name. Daniel Ricciardo is 30, not 27. I thought he was 27.
Yeah.
Just a quick little tap on my keyboard.
So 30, I think that's... Yeah, he's getting on a bit. He would fill that position in Ferrari well. And I'm just saying this. I think he's a good driver. He's proven that. He's good on the brakes. He's a good racer. Ferrari needs someone to partner Leclerc, to let Leclerc be the future, be the number one driver, go and get the race wins. Ricciardo can then be there, also a good racer, to pick up the pieces if Leclerc goes, if the race goes bad for Leclerc, which it has done a few times this season.
Yeah. I mean, he finished 9th.
Who? Ricardo?
Ricciardo. Was it this race or is that the
Well, yeah, but he's in a Renault. Yeah, look at his
54 points overall.
Look at his record in the Red Bull. Look at China.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But are they going to think? Are Ferrari going to think? Is this a driver past his prime?
No, they're going to think that's the driver we want to sign. Ferrari don't drive drivers because of their prime. Ferrari drive drivers. Ferrari more than nothing sign drivers that are older and more experienced. They don't really go for the young ones. Charles Leclerc is the youngest driver ever at Ferrari. He's
you've shot me down now. So
they don't go with young drivers. Rubens Barrichello, look at him when he went there.
Okay, right. I'm sorry for speaking. All right, I'm sorry.
Shut up, Reece.
You know when you said in the intro, Reece doesn't have a lack of Formula One. You're right. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Should we move on to something more lighthearted?
Let's move on to something more lighthearted.
I want to talk to you about this fun little clip from Lando Norris.
Right, yes.
Let me just tap away on my keyboard and get it up for you guys.
Marv. So this is his race engineer, is Marv?
It's his race engineer, yeah.
And it's his last race in Formula 1. Is that right?
That is correct indeed.
I think this has been my longest speech I've ever done in my life. But thanks, Jeff. I loved it.
Cheers, mate. I'm not one for speeches like you and Will, but I just want to say you're an absolute legend. I can't believe the rookie year you've had. And the fact that I've had the opportunity to share it with you.
Are you crying? Jeff, are you crying? I think I'm crying.
I'm going to show you.
I'm like laughing, crying. Oh, Jeff.
It's a very nice clip.
Isn't that emotional?
It's
Jarv's last race. Marv, I don't know. Jarv's Marv.
Jarv.
I think I said Marv before. It's Jarv's last race, and I think that's such a nice way to sign off.
He's only been with Lando a year, but
you can just see that he loves
they
him.
They love each other.
And I think Lando is such a good guy. Like he fits that role so well. And to give him a send off like that, he got him on the back of his helmet as well. I don't know if you saw that.
It's just nice.
It is a really nice.
It was more the fact that Lando was like, "Oh no, are you crying?" And he's like, "I'm also crying. It's okay."
Mom, are you crying? Oh,
that is
great.
the worst impression of Lando Norris I've ever heard.
All right, thanks.
So we saw Marv in Jarv, not Marv. I'm thinking of Home Alone. Marv in that clip, Lando got him on the back of the helmet, and it's so nice.
Very nice way.
So nice.
Send it all
the
off.
fact that he was all laughing at him and being like, "Oh, you're crying," and then Lando ended up crying too.
Yeah.
So emotional, but so nice, and that just sums Lando up as well.
I think
all
as
he
a
needed
whole,
was a pint of milk in his hand, and then that would have been him.
Lando Norris. I'm looking forward to his driver review.
I'm really looking forward to it.
And so we can
Lando.
Yeah, so that you can look forward to that on the rest of the podcast now. I think we can wrap it up there for today's episode.
What else is coming up in the podcast, Thomas?
Yeah, so coming up else in the podcast, obviously, if you've seen the episode number for today, this is Series 0, Episode 1.
What? How can there be a Series 0?
I know, we're breaking the form.
No way.
So the way I've decided I want to go around doing this, obviously, because we are starting to get at the tail end of the season.
Who starts an F1 podcast at the end of the F1
we
season?
Do. So, we're doing this. So I decided Series 0 is going to be kind of end of this season, Abu Dhabi, season review, which is going to be next week. And then we're going to kind of go backwards to the grid, get to, Lewis Hamilton at the top from Bobby.
Old Bobby.
And that will probably be after Christmas we come to that, won't it?
Are we going to combine them together, or are we just doing them separate? Because Kubica, there's not much to talk about from this season.
Well, no, but we'll find stuff to talk about.
That'll be a fun listen.
Well, we'll go through every single race. That's my idea. So we'll go every single race and say, how did they do in that race, kind of thing.
So join us later on in the podcast series where we'll be talking.
We'll be
about
doing a season review
races.
So we do a season review, which is a whole. Then each driver season review. I think that's probably a good way to go about it. So there's more stuff you can listen to until we get to episode 1 of Series 1. Which will be in March 21st, I think
over
is the date.
100 days. It'll be over
100 days away at the start of the new season. Actually, no, that's a lie. It'll be in February because I'll do it. We can start Series 1 at pre-season testing.
Yes.
Which I think is probably a good place to start it. And I think this is probably a good place to end this episode.
You could say that this is our pre-season testing.
This is our pre-season testing. If we get no one listening to this podcast is going nowhere.
Exactly.
That's not true. Please listen.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please. And thank you so much for listening to two absolute idiots babble on about F1 for an hour.
Because honestly, this is something we've just wanted to do for a long time. We've said it every time we're just chatting about F1. We're like, we should be recording this. So I'm really glad we're able to do it.
We're both radio students.
Exactly.
We both love radio.
We both love.
We obviously got our show normally, the Reese Keeble show. So this is our little baby now.
Oh, he's got a little plug coming in there. Here we go.
It's the Reese Keeble show. It's on a Thursday now.
Oh.
It's on a Thursday from 3 till 5.
3, please listen.
And that's on Can Do FM.
That's on Can Do FM.
Where you might be hearing this podcast.
Maybe.
If not, it'll be on YouTube. Have we put it on YouTube?
I think put YouTube, yeah.
We'll put it on YouTube.
Obviously, it's going out live on Utter on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what time. It's on a Tuesday at some point, and you're listening to it. If you're listening on Utter, this is the time we go out. If not, we'll tell you in the next episode. But yeah, so thank you very much for listening today. I'm excited to see where this goes from here.
Yeah?
And yeah.
Hopefully it goes to the pub with a couple of beers, am I right?
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
I'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. See you. So, thank you for listening to the F1 Review podcast this week. Make sure you come back next week where we'll be doing a full season review from race 1 to 21, Australia to Abu Dhabi, and we'll give you a full rundown of everything that happened this season. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week on the F1 Review.